Welcome to Weimar America in 2026. Imagine this: you walk into an ordinary Kroger or Safeway, and instead of the usual bustle of shopping, you're met with a heavy silence of people staring at price tags with expressions of pure terror. A loaf of ordinary white bread, which just a couple of years ago cost $3, is now marked on a digital screen, $98.50. And that's the morning price. By evening, it could hit triple digits. This isn't just inflation, it's monetary cannibalism, where the Federal Reserve has finally lit the fuse under $40 trillion of debt dynamite. You stand there with a $50 bill that has turned into a pathetic scrap of paper, unable to even buy a gallon of milk. The middle class in the US isn't just dying, it's being ground in the mills of hyperinflation, turning decades of your savings into dust in a matter of months. We have entered an era where the math of reality no longer matches what is broadcast on TV, and your only hope for survival is realizing that the dollar is already dead, it just hasn't fallen over yet. The cause of this nightmare isn't supply chain disruptions or corporate greed, as the news will lie to you. It is the result of a systemic currency arson committed by the very institutions that promised to protect it. Over the last few years, the US government has printed more liquidity than in the entire history of the Republic, trying to douse the fire of debt with gasoline from new borrowings. Now that global market confidence in US treasuries has evaporated, those trillions have flooded back home like a tsunami, washing away everything in its path. The currency is devaluing faster than you can swipe your card at the terminal. In 2026, we see the finale of the Great Reset. Debt has become so unbearable that the only way to write it off is to destroy the value of the currency in which it is denominated. You have become involuntary participants in a grand experiment to turn the world's leading economy into Zimbabwe on steroids, where your 401k has become a digital hallucination with no real backing whatsoever. Life under the conditions of $100 bread isn't just about high prices, it's a total collapse of the social fabric. Run the math of your enslavement. If you earn a national average of $25 an hour, you have to work 4 hours of pure time just for one loaf of bread. Your labor no longer converts into well-being, it barely covers basic caloric survival. The US service economy, all those Starbucks, barbershops, and restaurants, is collapsing into a black hole because no one can afford a $35 latte. Cities are turning into exclusion zones where stores close one after another due to looting and the inability to update inventory at skyrocketing prices. Population mobility drops to zero as a gallon of gas costs as much as a used iPhone back in 2021. You are trapped in your neighborhood, in your apartment that you can't heat, because utility bills now exceed your mortgage. This is the inflation apocalypse, the moment when money stops binding society together and starts tearing it apart. But behind this chaos lies a trap even more terrifying: the solution they will offer you. When hunger and riots reach their peak, the government will take the podium and announce the implementation of CBDC, central bank digital currency. They will say, the old dollar is broken, here is a new, stable one. And as a gesture of goodwill, they will issue you digital food stamps, a universal basic income just enough for that same loaf of bread. But there is a catch: this digital collar will be programmable. You won't be able to buy meat if your carbon footprint is too high, you won't be able to buy medicine if you missed a mandatory procedure, your money will expire in 30 days if you don't spend it. $100 bread is a psychological weapon designed to bring you to such despair that you voluntarily reach out for digital shackles in exchange for the promise of satiety. In 2026, control over food will become the ultimate tool of political coercion. Surviving this new reality requires a radical rejection of the consumer of the system mindset. If you are still keeping capital in numbers on a bank app screen, you've already lost. In an apocalypse of fiat money, only those who own physical assets and autonomy survive. This means transitioning to an economy of barter and real resources, precious metals, arable land, stockpiles of long-term food, and most importantly, skills that cannot be confiscated. You must become independent of the grid energetically, food-wise, and financially. Invest in solar panels, water filtration systems, tools, and seeds. In 2026, the ability to fix a generator or grow potatoes in your backyard will be worth more than a master's degree from an Ivy League school. Your success is now measured not by the number of zeros in the bank, but by your ability to feed your family without permission from the state or the banking system. There is no more time for preparation, we are already inside the process. The Great Reset of 2026 will erase those who hoped for a return to the normalcy of 2019. The world where money had meaning and purchasing power is gone forever. Now you choose your role for the coming decade. Either you become an autonomous sovereign possessing real resources, or you turn into a digital slave dependent on government handouts and social credit. Be vigilant with every dollar you have today. While it still buys something, exchange it for reality. $100 bread isn't the end of the world, it's the end of the old system of deception. Those who can adapt, who realize that true wealth is mobility, skills, and physical assets, will not just survive, they will become the architects of a new world on the ruins of the old. Remember, when paper begins to burn, only those who built a stone house in advance stay warm.